welcome to the deep dive. So right now, maybe you're trying to get onto X and you're just hitting that really frustrating message. An error has occurred.
Yeah, it's super disruptive, isn't it? You just want to check your feed, maybe send a DM, and bam, nothing.
Exactly. And you came to us with, well, a whole stack of sources, articles, some official posts, research, all trying to make sense of this specific problem. So our mission today is basically to unpack all of that, figure out what's really going on with X, as of right now, May 23rd, 2025.
Based on the latest info we have.
Right. And maybe most importantly, what you can actually do about it, if anything.
And I think one of the really key things coming out of these sources right up front
Yeah.
is that if you're seeing this message today, specifically today, the problem is almost certainly not you. It's not your account, probably not your phone, not your internet.
Okay, that's maybe a bit of a relief for you listening, but let's dig into why. Why isn't it likely my fault? What are these sources saying is the main cause for this error message and the other weirdness on X today?
Well, what's really striking is how consistent the sources are. They're all pointing pretty much to one central thing, a problem inside X's own data center infrastructure.
A data center problem. Okay.
And we actually saw this confirmed.
Yeah.
The official X engineering account, at X.
Yeah, I saw that.
They tweeted at 5:21 a.m. this morning, explicitly said some users were having service issues.
Yeah.
And linked it to a data center problem.
Okay, data center problem. Just so we're all clear, what does that actually mean? Like in practical terms, why does that stop me from logging in?
So think of a data center as the physical heart of X. It's where all the servers, the databases, the network gear, it all lives there.
Right, the engine room.
Exactly. And when something big goes wrong, there may be power issues, cooling fails, or just, lots of hardware breaking at once.
It can directly hit the really basic stuff X does. Like letting you log in or getting to your messages, your own data.
Got it. So this isn't just one little server having a bad day. It's potentially something much bigger, affecting the core system. Is it just login problems or other things breaking too?
Oh, the sources definitely suggest it's broader than just login. We're seeing reports, and these are reflected in the articles and posts you shared, that this data center issue is also messing with DMs, direct messages not showing up right, timelines not loading properly, other basic functions just aren't working for people. It seems like a pretty widespread service disruption.
Yeah, that definitely matches the frustration people are talking about. It's not just can't get in. It's like everything feels broken once you're kind of sort of it.
Exactly.
So besides that official Xeng tweet, what other evidence is there in the sources that points to this being a really deep server-side thing?
Well, we see quite a few confirming reports from different kinds of sources. For instance, you shared things about gaming accounts like Hukai, Star Rail, and service providers like Bitfan. They've publicly said they can't log in either. And the analysis in some sources suggests this points to a specific bug, maybe, in X's core authentication function.
Authentication function, what's that?
That's basically the system that checks who you are when you try to log in. It verifies your password, your credentials.
Okay, the gatekeeper.
Pretty much.
Right.
And if that system, which is totally central, right? If it has a bug or it's struggling because of the wider data center problems.
Then nobody gets through the gate.
Exactly. It stops users, and it also stops other services that connect to X, stops them from getting access. And the fact that it's hitting all these different types of accounts, normal users, big platforms, it's really strong evidence that the problem is with X's system itself.
Not with my password or my app.
Right. Not likely with individual user stuff in this case.
And does the data back this up? Like tracking sites?
Oh, absolutely. The sources point straight to data from places like Down Detector, show the huge spike in reported X problems today.
Yeah, those graphs usually tell the story. They do, and login problems specifically, they make up a big chunk of those reports. One source mentioned 53% of the incidents reported in the last 24 hours were login related.
Wow, over half.
Yeah, and news outlets are covering it too. Yahoo, News, IT Media. They've been reporting on these ongoing data center issues since early this morning. It all paints a really, really consistent picture. Major system failure.
Okay, so we've established pretty clearly from the sources the cause is a big problem on X's side. A data center thing, maybe an authentication bug. So here's the practical bit for you listening. If it's their problem, what can you actually do about it, according to these sources?
And this is maybe the most important takeaway, but also maybe the most frustrating one.
Uh-oh.
Because the root cause is X's infrastructure. There's basically nothing you, as a user, can do on your end to fix it.
Nothing.
Virtually nothing. The most effective action, really, the only useful action based on this info, is to wait. You have to wait for the X engineering team to sort out the problem on their side.
Waiting. That's not always easy when you just want to check your notifications.
No, it's absolutely frustrating. But the sources are really clear here. Things you normally do won't fix a data center meltdown.
Okay.
But while you're waiting, you're not totally in the dark. The recommended thing is to monitor the official channels. Keep an eye on @Xing, obviously.
Right.
Check reliable news sites that are covering the outage, like the ones we mentioned, Yahoo, IT Media. And keep an eye on status trackers like Down Detector. That gives you a sense of whether things are getting better or worse.
So stay informed while you wait.
Exactly. That's the best you can do right now.
What about, the usual stuff? Like, should I bother restarting my router, clearing my browser cache, trying on my laptop instead of my phone? Does any of that usual troubleshooting help here?
So the sources you shared do mention those steps,
Mhm.
and they are absolutely the right things to do for normal, everyday login problems. Like if your Wi-Fi is just being flaky, or sometimes old cache data does cause weird glitches, or maybe you did just type your password wrong too many times and got locked out.
Yeah.
Checking for app updates, that's all good general advice.
Standard procedure.
Standard procedure for individual issues, yes. But
for this specific situation,
yeah,
today's big outage,
for this widespread confirmed data center and authentication problem, the sources are pretty blunt. Those general steps are highly unlikely to make any difference. They just won't bypass a fundamental issue where X's core systems are down or acting up. So while they're good habits for other times,
Right.
for this, an error has occurred message caused by this outage today, your effort is probably better spent just waiting and checking those official updates.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together then. Based on everything you've shared, all these sources, what's the definitive summary for someone hitting that an error has occurred while on X today, May 23rd, 2025?
The definitive picture, yeah, is that the error message you're seeing and probably the problems with the DMs loading, timelines being weird, it's primarily because of a big, widespread issue with X's data center infrastructure.
Okay.
Possibly with a related bug in how they handle logins, that authentication system.
Yeah.
And this isn't just guessing, right? It's backed up by X's own engineering team admitting it.
The @xeng tweet.
Right. Plus, reports from other big services that are affected, like Hukai, StarRail, Bitfan, and you see the spike in data on Down Detector, and it's being reported widely by news outlets.
Got it. A server-side meltdown, basically.
Pretty much.
And because it's their problem, not yours, the single most effective thing you can do, based on these sources, is simply
wait for X's engineers to fix their systems.
And while you're waiting, keep tabs on official X accounts like @xeng, check reliable news, maybe look at Down Detector to see if the reports are calming down.
Exactly. That's the plan. And just to reiterate, those normal troubleshooting steps, good to know for other times, but the sources say they're highly unlikely to fix this specific server problem.
Right. So don't waste your time clearing your cache 50 times today.
Probably not, no. Now, if X announces, okay, we fixed it, and then you still have problems,
Okay.
that's the time to maybe start looking at the X Help Center or think about contacting support, because then it might actually be something specific to your account.
Okay, that makes sense. Only worry about troubleshooting your end after they say their end is fixed.
Precisely.
This whole situation, it really does make you stop and think, doesn't it?
How so?
Just like how interconnected everything is online. And what it really means when one single point of failure, something like a data center, something most of us never even think about.
Right, it's invisible infrastructure.
Totally invisible. But when it hiccups, it can just ripple out and affect so many different parts of the service and millions of users, all across the world, all at the same time.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder of the fragility sometimes of these massive systems we rely on.
Definitely something to ponder. Maybe while we're all waiting for X to come back online.